When I opened my eyes again, the room was different. The stars on the ceiling were gone, and in their place hung rows of small glass lanterns. Each one glowed with a faint golden light, swaying gently as if touched by a breeze I couldn't feel. I sat up slowly, the soft couch beneath me creaking like an old friend waking from a nap. The glowing book that had been in my lap was gone. For a moment, I thought maybe I had only dreamed the dreamwing, but then I noticed something resting beside me, a single white feather. It shimmered faintly, catching the warm light. I picked it up and smiled. Perhaps some dreams really do leave gifts behind. The air was quiet, but not empty. It felt full of listening, like the walls themselves were waiting patiently. I stood, brushed my hands against my clothes, and looked around. I was no longer in the same round room. The space was longer, wider, and lined with tall windows that let in a pale morning light. Morning. That word felt strange here. It had been night for so long. But through the window, I could see a sky that was not quite blue and not quite gold. The kind of light that happens just before sunrise, when the world is deciding whether to wake or rest a little longer. I walked slowly toward the nearest window. The view took my breath away. Outside stretched a landscape of soft hills covered in fog, and winding through them was a quiet river. The library stood high above it all, though I still couldn't see where its walls ended. It seemed to go on forever, each tower and wing fading into mist. A chair sat near the window, and on the small table beside it was a steaming cup of tea. I smiled. The library always seemed to know when tea was needed. I took a careful sip. The taste was different this time, lighter, almost floral, like warm sunlight in liquid form. As I sat there, I heard faint footsteps behind me. When I turned, I saw a young woman walking slowly down the corridor, carrying a stack of books in her arms. Her hair was tied in a loose braid, and she wore a simple gray dress. "Good morning," she said softly with the kind of smile that feels like it's been waiting for you. "Good morning," I replied, though I wasn't sure if it truly was morning. "I must have fallen asleep." She laughed gently. "That happens here. The library doesn't mind. It likes it when people rest." I nodded. "I think I dreamed something about clouds and a cat on the sea." "That sounds like a lovely dream," she said. "You must have been in the dream wing." I smiled. "I think I was." "Do you work here?" "In a way," she said. "I take care of the books that people leave behind, the ones that finish themselves while the reader sleeps." She looked down at the piles she was holding. They hum quietly until someone finds them again. She placed the books carefully onto a nearby table, aligning their edges with care. I noticed one of them glowing faintly, the same soft blue light I'd seen before. She followed my gaze. "That one's new," she said. "Arrived just before you woke. Do you know what's in it?" I asked. She smiled again, tilting her head. "No one does until they open it. But if you'd like, you can read it." "The library seems to have chosen you for it." I hesitated, but she nodded encouragingly, so I reached for the book. It felt warm, and the cover was smooth, like polished stone. I opened it slowly. The first line made me catch my breath. It said, "A traveler awoke to find the morning waiting patiently for them." I looked up at her, surprised. "That's me." She smiled knowingly. "The library writes ahead sometimes. It knows who's ready to listen." I read a few more lines. The words described me sitting right there at that window, holding that same book. And then, as I turned the page, the sentences began to fade. Not disappear, just slowly lighten until they were almost invisible. "The words are leaving," I whispered. She nodded softly. "They're returning home." Some stories only stay long enough to be heard once. I closed the book gently and set it down. For a long while, neither of us spoke. The silence was kind, not awkward, not empty, just peaceful. The sort of silence that doesn't ask for anything. After a while, I asked quietly, "Do people ever leave here?" She looked out the window with thoughtful eyes. Some do. Some stay. Some come and go without knowing. The library is patient. It never holds anyone too tightly. That made sense in a way that didn't need explaining. I stood, feeling rested but still sleepy in that lovely, lazy way you feel on rainy afternoons. "Do you think it's morning outside?" I asked. She smiled faintly. "It's whatever time your heart needs it to be." I laughed softly at that and looked once more out the window. The fog had thinned a little, and I could see the gentle shimmer of the river below. It looked like a ribbon of silver winding slowly through the hills. "I think I'll explore a bit more," I said. She nodded. "Then follow the light. The library shows the way when it wants to." So I did. As I began walking down the corridor again, the golden lamps flickered to life one by one ahead of me, each glow leading me forward. The air was cool, and every step echoed softly. Somewhere far behind me, I thought I heard pages turning, the sound of another story beginning. And in my pocket, I felt the small golden bookmark the old man had given me. It was warm again, as if reminding me that I still had many pages left to read.